Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. So today is usually a news video day. There should be a 3304 episode out, but I'm going to release it tomorrow instead. This weekend, something interesting happened in the world of Elite that has prompted this video. Now there's a very good chance that you have heard about the massive money-making skimmer missions, enabling players to earn between 200 to 300 million credits per hour, or in some cases even 400 million credits per hour. Now this became very popular over the weekend with two different YouTube videos, one from Down to Earth Astronomy and the other from the ever infamous Yamix. Of course, these missions have now been disabled whilst Frontier investigate to see what the problem was. But how did this particular mission work? Did the players have to game the system or abuse the mechanics perhaps? Well, it was actually very simple. A player went to a system such as 31 Beta Leonis Minoris, and there are other systems where this also works, and then dock at Volonic Colony Station. Then head to the mission boards and pick up skimmer kill missions. Now the interesting thing here is that players had no need to board hop. That is, they didn't need to log out of one of the game modes and log into another game mode in order to refresh the mission board. Basically, you just arrive at the station and then collect 20 skimmer kill missions all in one go, all very easy, so no abusing the game mechanics here then. Next up, the player would head to the mission destination, which was a planetary base called Oxley Keep. Here, you could kill all the skimmers, and again you could do this without mission swapping or without mode swapping, as the skimmers would respawn just by you travelling away a little bit and then coming back. Essentially then, this means that an entire run could be completed in around about 15 minutes. Very easy to earn over 200 million credits per hour without mode switching or board hopping. So yes, it isn't an exploit, not really in any way, but it was an outlier. Without a doubt, it was an excessive earner, far too much so, and it was paying more than Frontier intended. Now some people may define that as an exploit, but to be perfectly honest, I'd feel that they're stretching the definition a little bit thin and really missing the point. However, these skimmer missions certainly aren't the first case of high money earners, and they probably won't be the last. Robigo Mines, Quince, 17 Draconis, Raya are just a few of the others, and it seems that a new one comes up every few months. So it's probably clear to you by now that I didn't consider this to be an exploit, but what really is the point of the video? What am I trying to say here? Well, for me, the point of this entire situation is that these money trains, these gold rushes, are really not the problem, not in and of themselves at any rate. The reason people rush to them is a symptom of something else. Of course, there are the so-called human nature aspects to these, i.e., some people like an easy ride, other people want as much as possible as fast as possible, and some perhaps use money as a score system or as a sense of progress. But personally, I'd put it to you that those people only form a percentage of the overall player base that get involved in these gold rushes. So, whilst the motivations of those people are obvious and easy to understand, it really doesn't contribute towards getting a grasp on why so many people like a gold rush in Elite. Personally, and this of course is just my opinion, so take it with a pinch of salt, but personally, I think the whole Elite Dangerous gold rush craze is born from an issue of balance, or rather, an issue of imbalance within the game. Now, Elite Dangerous has an immense grind within it, and I do appreciate that that is a dirty word around some parts, and many people would deny it or say that grind is in the mind. I'd ask those people watching this though to not revert to your usual triggered status on that word. I'm not using it in a negative way. The fact is, grinding is a very real thing in games, and developers purposefully design games with the grinding in mind. Below in the video description you'll find a link to a video with David Braben doing a talk on grinding and how developers harness this in games design. Now I would include the clip here, but the content belongs to another channel, so the link is below, but I have timestamped it to the relevant part. The point is though that even David Braben talks about grinding and how it's used in games. So yes, grinding in Elite is a reality. That in and of itself is not a bad thing. However, it does become problematic when that grind exceeds the time limits that people feel are reasonable. But what is reasonable? Well, everyone will have a different opinion on that, but my opinion on that matter is that a good chunk of people doing these gold rushes feel that the grind in Elite is unreasonable. For every YouTube comment or forum post that you see out there shouting, "I want it now," you'll see one constructive post on why people feel the grind is unbearable. To be honest, we can ignore the people who shout that they want it right now, because no one who loves Elite truly wants instant gratification modes. But if some people are doing these gold rushes because they feel the game is imbalanced, then what is it they actually want? Well, it turns out there are a lot of answers to that, all conveyed in very different ways, but they can essentially be distilled down to a couple of points. First, it's not I want it now, and it's not easy mode. Second, like it or not, credits in Elite are an enabler. They pay for rebuys, and they purchase ships and modules. So that all seems very simple on the surface, right? These people are not asking for the biggest ship because they want end content right now. What they're saying is that, to them, Elite Dangerous is about PvP, deep space exploration, PvE, bounty hunting, trading, and many other activities. Now, whilst all of these can be done in a Sidewinder, it is neither reasonable nor realistic to expect a player to actually do that. The main concern for this group of players seems to be that they have to do the grinding through hours and hours of gameplay in order to access the things that they enjoy. Now, whilst it's very true that the journey to obtaining these things is very much what the game is about, that is far from the entire point of the game. And whilst it is also true that some players get bored when they get what they want, it is equally true to say that many players stick with the game for a very, very long time once they can do the things that they really enjoy. Bottom line, credits in Elite are not the be-all and end-all. We still need to obtain rank, materials for engineering, reputation, and other things besides, and we still have all a multitude of other activities to get involved in. There seems to be an unreasonable and perhaps unfounded fear that having billions of credits will reduce player retention due to boredom. But for me, and remember this is just my opinion, but credits are an enabler, and an enabler that allows you to do the things that you really want to do in the game, the things that keep you interested for a long, long time. And as for those playstyles and players that don't worry about credits, then none of this really is a problem for you in the first place. There are of course issues beyond the credit balance totals, and I'm not saying that gold rushes don't have a negative effect. They clearly do have a demonstrable negative effect on local factions via the background sim, as well as upon power play where players can dump a load of cash, and just perhaps they also have a bit of an impact on crime and punishment where people can very easily pay off their bounties no matter how high they get. But that was a point raised during the feedback discussion of the new crime and punishment changes, and Frontier said that the mega-rich players are only a subset of the community. They openly stated that the multi-billionaires are only a very small percentage, and that says a lot about just how many people actually get involved in these gold rushes, doesn't it? It's either a very high number of players warranting it being shut down, or it's a smaller number than many people believe, hence the high credit balances were not actually a factor in the design of the new crime and punishment system. At any rate, that's a bit of a segue. What I'm saying though is that people participate in gold rushes for valid reasons, and I'd also go as far to say that they should be introduced as a very real thing in the game. Genuine, extremely high-paying gold rushes that only last for a very short time and only occur every so often could perhaps be a very nice element to the game. And if the payouts for these were managed quite well by Frontier, then I don't think they could be that much of a problem, and I think a lot of people would actually enjoy them. Ultimately, after all these years with the constant stream of so-called credit exploits, there is undoubtedly an imbalance with credits within the game. And I'm not talking about an imbalance in people's wallets, but rather an imbalance within the game itself. And just maybe there's even a mismatched perception within both development and the community as to the place of credits and what they should actually mean. I honestly don't have any solutions to any of this, but I do feel that it's an imbalance that Frontier should have a look at sooner rather than later. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.